Welcome, my name is Michal Pastor and I am a researcher at National Forest Center in Slovakia. In this presentation we will talk about pests and diseases in the context of agroforestry. We will explore how agroforestry affects on pests and diseases, and you will also see examples of pest and disease control in practice. Agroforestry is the deliberate integration of trees and shrubs into crop and animal farming systems to create environmental, economic and social benefits. In addition, agroforestry is a collective term for various sustainable farming practices that, among other important issues, naturally control pests and diseases. When trees, shrubs and crops are planted together, they support a variety of beneficial insects and animals. These predators and parasites hunt down pests that threaten crops, reducing the need for pesticides. In general, we can say that in agroforestry, pests and diseases are both threats and opportunities for management, with complex interaction between trees, crops, and their environment. In a monoculture, pests can move freely from plant to plant. In agroforestry, different species arranged together break up this continuity. Shade, moisture, and temperature differ between tree canopies and open crop rows. Some insects, fungi, or weeds compete with pests, making the environment less favorable for large outbreaks. Regarding biological control, agroforestry creates habitats that support beneficial organisms, predators, parasites, and competitors that keep pest population low. For example, lady beetles feed on aphids, mites, and soft-bodied pests. Parasitoid wasps lay eggs inside pest insects, stopping them from reproducing. And finally, birds and bats consume large numbers of caterpillars, beetles, and moths. There are plenty of positive effects on disease control. I will mention only few of them. In monocultures, crops of the same species and often the same variety are planted continuously across large areas. Agroforestry breaks this pattern by introducing structural and species diversity, such as trees, shrubs, hedgerows, and intercrops, and thus affects many factors regarding disruption of disease cycles, which are mentioned here. Agroforestry systems create a more stable microclimate than monocultures. These better conditions discourage many pathogens that rely on specific humidity and temperature range for infection and survival. On the other hand, agroforestry systems can unintentionally decrease risks, as you can read on this slide. Therefore, good design and species selection are essential. Let's move to demonstrate some examples of pest and disease control in practice. The grapevine moth causes important losses to vineyard owners. The larvae perforate the grapes and help spread diseases. By doing so, they reduce the yield but also increase the likeliness of gray moth and acid moth. The presence of larvae and rotten fruit lowers the quality of the crop. Growers faced with an infestation have no choice but to spray their vines with chemicals. As an alternative, bats and insectivorous birds can help control the grapevine moth, but need sustainable habitat to be provided. Bats can play an important role in protection of economically important crops against Lepidoptera pests. A recent French study concluded that bats are present in vineyards and help reduce the losses related to grapevine moth and diseases like gray and acid moth. The study also confirmed that although they are present in intensive vineyards, but still prefer hunting in more natural environments such as hedgerows. On pilot plantations mixing vineyard and tree arrangement in the southwest area of France, a reduction of occurrence of grapevine moth has already been reported, along with an increased presence of bat at dusk. Sheep are well suited to agroforestry in Ireland, utilizing dense grass and understory growth while benefiting from tree shade and shelter. Species like alder and willow provide protection from rain, while sheep improve soil fertility by cycling nutrients and controlling undesired sheep feed plants. Three species compound of silvopastoral system reduce livestock stress, improve productivity, and enhance water retention to prevent flooding if adequate protectors are used. Sheep grown by using silvopasture supports meat and wool production, boosting biodiversity and carbon sequestration while complying with environmental protections. Experiment conducted at the Leeds University revealed significantly positive effect on the control of the pest population of English grain aphid. The presence of trees in an agroforestry system had a direct effect on temperature, wind speed, and atmospheric moisture. The effects of climatic conditions are critical to aphid outbreaks. The difference between the arable alleys and the control areas resulted in the difference in the pattern of aphid distribution. Decreased temperature, reduced wind speed, and increased presence of natural enemies had key effect on significantly lower English grain aphid population in the silvo-arable agroforestry areas compared to arable areas. In conclusion, agroforestry generally improves pest and disease management through ecological diversification, natural pest regulation, microclimate control, and ground shading. However, outcomes depend heavily on species selection, system design, and management practices. In short, agroforestry manages pests and diseases by creating a balanced ecosystem. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I wish you the best in gaining experience with pest and disease control in agroforestry.